Good evening, uh, St. Luke members, others of you who participate with our ministry. I want to thank you so very much. I want to thank you so very kindly for your participation in all the things that we do at the St. Luke Church. Thanks for your participation. Thanks for your commitment. And thank you so much for your faithfulness over this last year. You all have been amazing. You've been outstanding. I appreciate you so tremendously. And I pray that in the very near future, we'll be able to begin in-person worship. However, we will maintain a format for you to be able to worship with us online and virtually. So let's go ahead and get into the lesson today and then get into a few things there. Of course, giving methods are there. Make sure that you make a note of each of these. Mail your offering to 3019 Skelly. You may mail it to 2110 Martin Luther King. You may use our Givelify app, which so many of you have been doing. Thank you. Or you may stop by the church on Sundays or on other days when you see one of the officers there and utilize our our deposit box that's right by the side door. There's a lot of construction going on right now. So I'd recommend that you would use the other avenues of giving. Thank you so kindly. Again, as we have each week, the very outstanding and excellent Sunday school lesson that we do participate in with the Lane Chapel, the Shreveport District. And this is the one thing that we are going to take forward with us coming out of the pandemic. If you would, even when we re-enter into in-person worship and begin our own Sunday schools, which is down the road as well. The meeting ID is 820-485-6656, passcode 748987. Listen, once again, we're encouraging everybody to take the vaccine. We want to be vaccinated. We want our members. We know that, that this is going to be the best way for us to be able to re-engage back with the world is by taking this vaccine. The more of us who take it, eventually, the more life itself will return back to normal. Thank you so much. So please make sure that you get a chance to do it. And most of all, it's effective and it's free. Praise the Lord for free. Tomorrow morning, our YouTube channel, we will have worship beginning at 10:45 and of course on Facebook as well. I want to thank each of you for your continued participation with these formats. And you all have pushed us to make it better and to make our services more realistic. I have been preaching in the building. I've been preaching as if the building is full because I can't wait until we get to that point. Thank you. Listen, in the month of May, birthdays, myself there, Amen, Zoe Hudson, Zaria Hudson, Marvell Brown, DJ Yoshi, Sharnika Ned, I believe more, who had a birthday on yesterday, celebrating Kamaya Lewis, Brandon Strickland, and Terica Hall. Thank you so much. And we want to honor and recognize each of these birthdays. This is a picture of Zoe and Zaria when they were 5 in the backyard there with their bicycles still had training wheels on them. I believe they had been in school. And looks like the one that's on the screen to your left, that is Zaria with her teeth missing there, and Zoe's teeth are missing there on the right. And they are 20 years old as of today, as I'm recording this. Happy birthday to Zoe and Zaria. Zoe is a 3.9 grade point average student at Louisiana Tech, majoring in political science pre-law. Zaria is a 3.8 grade point average student, majoring in psychology over there at Louisiana Tech as well. God bless you. Very proud of these two children. And also Devin Bilbo, Amanda and Keith Bilbo. Know they're very, very proud. Devin, who will be graduating from Airline High School this month as well. So congratulations there, Coach and Mrs. Bilbo. God bless you there as well. Listen, let's go ahead and get into the Sunday school lesson. Outstanding lesson this week. Jeremiah, the suffering preacher, the preacher of doom. And the text comes from Jeremiah 38, verses 14 through 23. Let's see what Jeremiah has for us this week. I love this lesson. The book of Jeremiah, he's the son of a priest. He's from a small town of Anathoth in Judah. Now, because of his lineage, he would have been raised as a priest, though there's no record of his priestly service exists. So apparently he's from the tribe of Levi. Instead, God chose this man of courage to speak to the people of Judah on God's behalf, even though they would not listen. Now, this is one of the very strange dynamics of God calling this prophet to preach to people, even though they would not listen, even though they would not adhere to his words. I want to talk about his frustration in just a minute. So he is still called and selected by God, even though he was preaching to deaf ears. Jeremiah was nearly 20 years old when he began to prophesy, and he continued in that office for the rest of his adult life, perhaps more than 40 years or more. And because of his message held little weight with the people, Jeremiah's prophecies reveal a substantial amount of emotional depth, often sorrow over the plight of God's people, or even his own troubles. The king Zedekiah had sentenced him to a pit, a filthy existence, but yet and still he trusted and believed in God. God had always known Jeremiah, just as he has known all of us, and had laid the foundation for Jeremiah's ministry. He said, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And before you were born, I consecrated you. I appointed you a prophet to the nations." I love that. God knows who he's going to use, even when we may or may not know. But God selects us. God chooses those persons whom he chooses to put into his service. And then let's look at Jeremiah 37. In this text that leads up to 38, let me share something else with you right quick. Now, Jeremiah became frustrated with the people. He became frustrated with his work, and I think sometimes pastors have to be mindful that we become frustrated, and because we say that we're not, we find ourselves living under and living with a lot of stress. And so that's why pastors have to learn to take care of themselves, because our frustration can sometimes outweigh our commitment. But in Jeremiah's case, his commitment to God outweighs his frustration with the people. Look at what it says. "Oh Lord, you induced me, you called me, you told me I could do this. I was persuaded. You are stronger than me, and you have won. But I am derision daily. I'm the butt of their jokes. Everybody makes fun of me. For when I spoke, I cried out, I shouted violence and plunder, because the word of the Lord was made to me a reproach and a derision daily," meaning the folk were making fun of me because I'm speaking all this doom. "Then I said, I will not make mention of him, nor will I speak anymore in my God's name. But his word was hid in my heart like a burning fire, shut up in my bones. I was weary of holding it back, but I could not." It was like fire shut up in my bones. So even though he wanted to stop, couldn't. Even though his desire was to leave God alone, he couldn't, because he had a commitment that outweighed his frustration. Now, in order for us to understand Jeremiah 38, let's go to Jeremiah 37. King Zedekiah came to Jeremiah, got him out of the pit. He had thrown him in prison. And he starts to see the handwriting on the wall regarding the Babylonians. And he said, "Go down there, sneak in, go bring me Jeremiah back out of here. Bring him to the palace. Clean him up, bring him to the palace." And then he says to him, is there any word from the Lord? And Jeremiah said, I have a word, but I'm not sure it's the one you want to hear. He says, yes, and you will be defeated by the king of Babylon. Oh my God. So now let's go to verse 38, chapter 38, and let's look at verse 14. Then Zedekiah sent and took Jeremiah the prophet unto him in the third entry, that is in the house of the Lord. And the king said unto Jeremiah, I want to ask you something. Tell me the truth. Don't hide anything from me. Then Jeremiah said to Zedekiah, watch this, if I declare unto thee, wilt thou not surely put me to death? And if I give you counsel, will you not listen unto me? So Zedekiah, the king, swears secretly unto Jeremiah, because he couldn't let everybody know that I'm listening to this prophet, saying, as the Lord liveth that made us this soul, I will not put you to death, neither will I give you into the hand of these men that want to take your life. Then said Jeremiah unto Zedekiah, thus saith the Lord, the God of hosts, the God of Israel, if you will assuredly go forth unto the king of the Babylon's princes, then your soul shall live, and this city shall not be burned with fire, and thou shalt live and thine house. But if you will not go forth to the king of Babylon's princes, then shall this city be given into the hand of the Chaldeans, and they will burn it with fire, and thou shalt not escape out of their hand. And Zedekiah the king said to Jeremiah, I'm afraid of the Jews. I'm afraid of the people that have fallen to the Chaldeans, lest they deliver me into their hand, and they make fun of me. So here's Zedekiah, who's fearful. But who does he go to? He goes to the prophet of God. Out of his fear, he goes to the prophet of God and says, I'm afraid. But Jeremiah said, they won't do it. Just obey, I beg you, the voice of the Lord which I speak unto thee. So it shall be well unto thee, and thy soul shall live. This is what he says. He says, just obey me. Just do what I'm doing as I'm telling you what God said. But if you refuse to do it, this is the word that the Lord has shown me. God is speaking to the prophet. And behold, the women that are left in the king of Judah's house shall be brought forth to the king of Babylon's princes. And those women shall say, thy friends have set thee on and have prevailed against thee. Thy feet are sunk in the mire, and they are turned away back. So they shall bring out all thy wives and thy children to the Chaldeans, and thou shalt not escape out of their hand, but shalt be taken by the hand of the king of Babylon, and thou shalt cause this city to be burned with fire. We're going to take your wives and your children. That's what the Chaldeans did. That's what they would do. But the prophet says, but if you don't want that to happen, you've got to listen to what I have to say. And sometimes we've got to listen to and turn to what God's word says if we're really and truly going to be blessed as God requires and God's desire of us is. Listen, 5 lessons I want us to learn from this lesson and from the life of Jeremiah. There is still power in the truth. There is still power. We live in an age where we're watching one whole political party become boldly entrenched with a lie. Yes, a lie. And the only way you can be in favor in that party is a lie. But thank God there's power in the truth. God still desires and God still honors the truth. He does. It may not seem like it. It may not look like it, but God does honor the truth, people. Thirdly, the prophet of God must speak the truth. The preacher, especially the Black preacher, yes, the Black preacher, he has to still speak truth to power and speak truth to people. The people of God, listen to this now, must learn to appreciate the truth. Zedekiah, he said, I won't kill you. Zedekiah was fearful, but he did say he wanted to hear, is there any word from the Lord? And then also, the truth also has consequences. Yes, as we see sometimes in this lesson, that here Jeremiah had been speaking the truth, but Jeremiah found himself in a pit, and Jeremiah still found himself in a place of darkness. I just want to say this, that even though we speak the truth still has power. God still desires the truth, that we must speak the truth and we must learn to appreciate the truth. But sometimes the truth does have earthly consequences, but the truth also has heavenly rewards. God bless you. God keep you, of course, is my prayer. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to preach a sermon from the book of 2 Corinthians. And in it, Paul goes to God about the removal of a thorn from his flesh. But God answers. God's answer was not to remove it. It was not yes, it was not no. He simply said, my grace is sufficient. And we are living in an age right now where we need God's grace. And we are recipients and beneficiaries of that grace. I'll preach about that tomorrow. I hope you tune in. I pray that you'll listen and trust that God himself will deliver and bless you and me through this word. God bless you, my children, and God keep you is my prayer.